Hello everybody, it's Joe from PrepAgent. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Tell me what town you're from, and we shall begin. So today we're doing vocabulary. Florida, Virginia, everybody's from everywhere. Today is Monday. So we're going to do vocabulary. So let's start off with, what is a specific lien? Who could tell me what is a specific lien? Congratulations, Beth, on passing. Great job. So a specific lien is what? A specific lien applies to one property, so if you don't pay that debt, they'll take away that one thing, usually your house, as opposed to a general lien, which means what? What does a general lien mean? What is a general lien? A general lien means they could take everything. Can you guys give me an example of a specific lien? Give me an example of a specific lien. Can you guys give me an example of a specific lien? So a mechanic's lien would be an example of a specific lien. A mortgage would be an example. Property tax would be an example. Good. Can you guys give me an example of a general lien? Give me an example of a general lien. Can you guys give me an example of a general lien? So general liens would be like income tax. Could be a mortgage. No, excuse me. A general lien would not be a mortgage. More specifically, income tax or judgment. A court's judgment would be a general lien. Good. Okay, usury. What is usury? What do you guys think usury is? Usury is also known as loan sharking. It's taking an unfair interest rate. It's illegal. Good. Voidable contract. What is a voidable contract? What do you guys think is a voidable contract? A voidable contract is a contract that has all four essential elements, but you have the right to rescind at any moment. Okay? Who could tell me what the four essentials are of a valid contract? What are the four essentials of a valid contract? What do you guys think? What are the four essentials of a valid contract? So the four essentials would be mutual consent, consideration, lawful object, and capable parties. You guys got to know that. Mutual consent, consideration, lawful object, and capable parties. What is something that can make a contract voidable? What do you guys think? What is something that can make a contract voidable? What do you guys think? So being under duress can make it voidable. When a property is misrepresented, like if you want to purchase a blue house and you show up and the house is yellow, that can make it voidable. Why would that not be void if you signed to buy a blue house and the house is yellow? Why would that not be void? Why is that voidable if you signed to buy a blue house and the house is yellow? Why is that voidable and not void? Simply said, because you might like the yellow house. Or you may not care at all. Your plan may have been to paint the whole thing red regardless. Okay, so a void contract by definition is what? What's a void contract? What is a void contract? A void contract is any contract that lacks those four essential elements. Lacks one of those four essential elements. Good job, everybody. What is a client? A client. What is a client? What do you guys think is a client? A client is somebody you owe a fiduciary duty to. Good job. A client's also known as a principal. Good. What is a customer? What is a customer? What do you guys think a customer is? What's a customer? Hello, Marissa. So a customer is somebody you owe honesty and fairness to, but you don't necessarily owe loyalty. So a client, also known as a principal, has that fiduciary relationship, right, guys? It insinuates loyalty. That's why when you go buy shoes at the store, you're not their client, but rather you're their customer. People very often misuse these words, client and customer. Client kind of assumes a certain relationship of representation. Okay, joint tenancy. Joint tenancy. What's that? What's a joint tenancy? Carol says to tip. Good. To tip stands for time, title, interest, and possession. Nice job, Carol. Time, title, interest, and possession. The four unities. It also has that right of survivorship. Good job. It also has the right of survivorship. What does that right of survivorship mean? It means that if I have a property with you as a joint tenant and I pass away, you get the property. I cannot will it to my heirs, as opposed to a tenancy in common where I could. Okay, and tenancy in common just has that unity of possession. So which one is more typical? Which one is the more standard one you see? Joint tenancies or tenancy in common? When people own property together, do they more likely take it as joint tenants or tenants in common? What do you guys think? What is the one you typically see? So the answer would be tenants in common. Just think, it has the word common in it. It's more common. Joint tenancy is not nearly as common because there's just a lot more requirements. Instead, we have those 4 unities: time, title, and possession. Tenancy in common doesn't have nearly as much. Which one would you take with a corporation? Joint tenancy or tenancy in common? Which one would you take with a corporation? Joint tenancy or tenancy in common? What do you guys think? Joint tenancy or tenancy in common? Which would you take with a corporation? So based on what I just said, you would take a tenancy in common, especially because of that right of survivorship. Corporations don't die, so that wouldn't really work, would it? Does my sound good? You guys hear me well today? Just want to do a little quick sound check. Okay, moving right along. Okay, what is an optionee? An optionee. Optionee. What is an optionee? An optionee is somebody who receives an option as opposed to an optionor. Somebody gives an option. You could see this with something like a lease option. A lease option is when somebody rents a property with an option to buy it at a later date. So in that situation, the lessee would also be the optionee, and the lessor would be the optionor. Usually when that happens, you pay for that option, right? You pay for it either with money up front or extra amount in rent every month, whatever it would be. And then the person who took that money cannot take that option away from you because that was the understanding when they took that money. At the end of the year, you have the option of either buying the property or just foregoing the money and getting something else or doing something different. Okay, so you have option E and option OR. By the way, if you guys have questions about concepts, it's best to post them in our Facebook group. We are trying to do a better job of getting to those. And that way everybody can see your question and we can answer for a lot of people. A lot of people are asking questions through the feedback button after each question. That's not the best way to do it because we can only answer one person there. And that's really meant for if there's like a glitch in our system or there's grammar wrong or something like that. It's not really meant to go over concepts. That would be like individual tutoring, which we don't do. So if you see a question that you're going over, it's best just to copy and paste it and put it into the group if you want to go over the concept. Okay, just post to the Facebook group. Because we really want to promote that Facebook group, because then if you post in that group, you'll get a lot of different responses, which is a great thing, because you get a lot of different perspectives on the same question. Okay, moving right along. Inverse condemnation. What is inverse condemnation? Inverse condemnation. Kim and Wes has too many wrong answers on Facebook. Look for our answer. We're going to try and answer it, but we still want to answer it in publicly so everybody can see our answer. So you could tag us. In fact, we even like it better if you just message to the website and say, here's my question in the Facebook group, answer it there. So if there's a lot of people answering, we would prefer to chime in there than answer them individually through the website. And that way we could also correct the people giving wrong answers. Okay, inverse condemnation is a lawsuit against the government to get money through your property when it was taken through eminent domain. So what is eminent domain? What is eminent domain? What is eminent domain? You're welcome, Kim. What is eminent domain? Eminent domain is when you take the property for public use. Okay, there are 4 government powers you guys need to know. What are they? So eminent domain is one of them, obviously. What are the other 3? What are the other 3 government powers? What are the other 3 government powers? So you got police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat. Good. What is the difference between police power and eminent domain? What is the difference between police power and eminent domain? What do you guys think? What is the difference between police power and eminent domain? Police power tells you how to use it. Eminent domain could take it away from you. All right, guys. Police power tells you how to use it. Eminent domain could take it away from you. Good. Title. What is title? What is title? What is title? Title is ownership. Title is ownership. What is the difference between legal title and equitable title? What is the difference between legal title and equitable title? What is the difference between legal title and equitable title? So legal title has the right to sell. Equitable title is the right to use and possess, and obviously enjoy equity when it goes in value. Legal title is very often used by banks when they lend you money, so they have the right to sell it if you don't pay them back. But you retain equitable title as the right to use and possess. So what that means, if you get a property for $100,000 and it goes up to $150,000, that extra 50 grand belongs to the person who has equitable title, not the person who has legal title. Okay, so legal title just gives the right to sell the property. It's their way of getting their money back. Okay, principle of conformity. What do you guys think? Principle of conformity. Who's got an answer for me there? Principle of conformity. Oof, we've got 171 people on the chat today. All you guys show up for Mondays, but where do you guys go on Fridays? I don't know. Fridays, our crowd seems to decrease quite a bit. Principle of conformity. It's an appraisal principle that similar things, when things are similar, value goes up. Value goes up. Did you guys see in Miami they have those different colors like pastels and like the greens and all that? Values go up because they all have that same design. So if you put one of those properties like in Idaho, it wouldn't work. But because everything's of the same design, the values go up. Estoppel. What's an estoppel? Estoppel. So estoppel is a statement of facts that cannot be later contradicted by a person who signed it. Okay, it basically means you can't contradict yourself. Somebody said to stop, that would be an injunction. That would be an injunction. A writ of execution. A writ of execution. A writ of execution. What would that be? A writ of execution is a court order to enforce a judgment. Good. Did you guys remember your 5 questions of a day? I always want to remind you of that. Remember, one of my rules to you guys passing is when you wake up in the morning, memorize 5 new vocabulary words. Just real quick, just have them next to your bed. And make sure you memorize them. And then before your day's even gotten started, you got some stuff out of the way. Because I know our days get hectic, gets crazy. But if you make a habit of doing that, you'll be good to go. It's one of my ways to make sure you guys don't wait till the last second to do everything. And trust me, I know you guys got kids, jobs. Some of you are in school. We all have different challenges in our life. So I know this could get away from us very quickly. So that's why it's so important you guys memorize those 5 questions right when you wake up so that when our day gets going, it doesn't get lost in the mix. And then without even realizing it, you'll be like, I'm ready to go. Somebody said, can I explain a writ of execution? That's simply the court saying you have to sell your property. Okay, a percentage lease. A percentage lease. A percentage lease. So a percentage lease is when you pay your rent based upon a percentage of the money coming in. So obviously this would apply to commercial leases. What are some other types of leases you learned when you studied for your real estate exam? What are some other types of leases that you learned when studying for your real estate exam? Who can tell me? You have a gross lease. A gross lease, which is your standard lease, and that just means you pay a fixed amount. You have a net lease, which means you would pay for things like taxes, insurance, and maintenance. And then you also have a sandwich lease, which is also known as subletting. Subletting is when the lessor is also the lessee. Okay, so those are the leases we learn when we're studying for the real estate exam. So I got a message from somebody today, and they wrote to us saying they didn't understand why we were not helping them pass the realtor exam. That all the stuff we said broker, salesperson, associate broker, etc., etc., etc. Why didn't it say realtor exam? And they were very critical of us for not having that. Why? What were they not realizing when they wrote that to us? And this is important for your guys' exam as well. Why is that? And what are they missing about that? When they say, you know what, I'm studying to be a realtor, not a salesperson or a broker. I'm studying to be a realtor. And you guys don't have help with realtor exams. So therefore, blah, 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 angry, angry, angry. Okay? So what they didn't realize is you don't get licensed to be a realtor. And some of you guys already know this, and it comes up on many of your exams. A realtor is a trademarked organization. So you will pass your exam which certifies you by your state to sell real estate, either as a broker or a salesperson or whatever they title it in your state. A realtor is something that you sign up with to be part of a trade and organization, and depending on your region, there's different benefits of that. Does everyone understand that? Sometimes I assume people know that, and I should not assume, as you guys are starting in the business, and it's really important you guys to realize that. You're part of an association. Essentially, they also function as your lobbying group. Okay? So a realtor is a trade organization. All right? So realtor and salesperson is not the same thing. Just to be clear, it is not the same thing. A salesperson or broker is just somebody who passed the exam who's licensed to sell real estate. A realtor insinuates that you are part of a trade or organization, which they say means you live up to a higher standard, but really just means you paid their fees. And then you have access to certain of their member benefits. Okay, here we go. Property as collateral. What do you guys know about this? Property as collateral. So property as collateral just means that that's the way they take down the risk for the lender. You guys remember that's the thing that alleviates their risk. They look at your income and your credit, but obviously know the property is the biggest thing. Having that property as collateral is the biggest reason they'll give you a loan. What is the market data comparison approach? Who could tell me? What is the market data comparison approach, also known as doing comps? What is that? What is the market data comparison approach? So when you compare properties of like kind in order to find value. Good. Okay, less than freehold estate. Less than freehold estate. What is a less than freehold estate? A less than freehold estate. So that's for a limited period of time as opposed to freehold estates, which are not limited. Who could tell me the different types of less than freehold estates? Less than freehold estates. What are the different types of less than freehold estates you need to know for your exam? Okay, so here they are. You have estate for years, periodic tenancy, estate at will, and estate at sufferance. Estate for years, periodic tenancy, estate at will, and estate at sufferance. Reversion. What does reversion mean? Reversion. Reversion is when somebody who has the right to receive something, it goes back to them upon the happening of a certain event. Okay, it reverts back to them. You see in different forms like leases and life estates and things of that nature. Okay, blockbusting. What is blockbusting? Blockbusting. Blockbusting, panic selling, panic peddling are all basically the same thing. So what is blockbusting? What are they? So they are discriminating when wanting to solicit listings. It's basically saying you better sell your house because those people are moving to town, so you better sell. You don't want to live by those people. It's a violation of fair housing. What year did fair housing come into play? What do you guys think? What year did fair housing come into play? Okay, that would be 1968. Good, 1968. This has nothing to do with the Antitrust Act. I see some of you guys wrote antitrust. It has nothing to do with this. Antitrust Act has to do with free market competition. The Fair Housing Act has to do with discrimination. Okay, statute of limitations. What is the statute of limitations? What do you guys think? Statute of limitations. Statute of limitations has to do with a time frame of which you need to do something, as opposed to statute of frauds, which says what must be in writing. And if something needs to be done with a certain amount of time and it's not, then that contract would be unenforceable. Okay, estated sufferance. What's that? What's an estated sufferance? What do you guys think? Estated sufferance. Estate sufferance has to do with somebody who stays past the time they should be there, also known as like a deadbeat tenant. It's a estated sufferance. Like a squatter. That's right, Allison. Good job. So that'd be a estated sufferance. Excellent. All right, guys. So that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 4 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock East Coast time. Other than that, let's get the week off started right. It's Monday. Go get them. Thanks, everybody. Bye.